Top of the morning to you all. Thank you again for joining us here on Gameyaaad TV for another video. Now, this video we will be looking on the second test. Yes, that's the second test between West Indies and Australia in this fuller energy test series here in the West Indies. Both teams are vying for the Frank Worrell Trophy. Now, in the first test match, as you would have known by now, West Indies would have lost that game by 159 runs. Now, I think there were some key areas in that match that we need to highlight before we preview the second test match between Australia and West Indies. Now, I think, as I would have said in my last video, I believe that the West Indies bowling unit, they were superb. I think only Jamel Warrican, I think he did not bowl much over. I think he bowled about 8 overs in the match, if my memory serves me right. I think he's one of the players I'm considering for the second test, even though I think Darren Sammy will not be changing his team, because I mean, this is the first match and I do not expect him to make because I suspect that this, in his mind, this is the strongest team that he has. However, looking over into Grenada, it's a pitch that, based on, the past, the pitch that favors fast bowlers, right? So I'm wondering if probably we could include Anderson Phillips instead of Jamel Warrican for that test match, and use Ruston Chase as the spin bowler, but it's a track that favors fast bowlers. But before we get into it, I think looking back on the test match, one of the key moment in that game for us as West Indian fans would have been those two controversial decisions made by the third umpire to get Ruston Chase out and Shea Hope, because they were batting really well. I think they made 67 run partnership, and that was massive when you consider the context of how the game was going. And I think those, especially those two decisions, really crippled the West Indies team, bouncing back in that first test. And mark you, I think West Indies also made a blunder as it relates to dropping 7 catches in that gully slip region. We have to be better in this test match. We have to be better, and I know Darren Sammy will really seek to improve that. He was a very good slip fielder as well, so I suspect that he will be putting some hard work in that area for the second test. And I think looking on the players, I know that probably the ball came quicker than they expected, but I think some of them, the positioning at slip, especially, I think they were not positioned very well. So when the catch came in, their head was moving and along with their hands. And generally, when you're taking catch, you want the head to be still, right, and your hand to move, in the line of the ball. So that is something that Darren Sammy and the fielding coach will seek to improve. But overall, I think that innings by Bo Webster and Travis Hedges, would have taken the game away from us. Chasing 301 on that pitch in this 4th innings, a very tough task, right? So it's something West Indies will need to improve on their batting, especially our top order. We need some runs from our top order. We would have been saved in that first test by our middle order, right? So the top order need to fire. And as I said in my previous video, our shot selection, even though we would have shown great intent in terms of scoring runs at the wicket, we have to be, be very mindful of the risk that we are taking. We have to take more controlled risk rather than, outright risk, similar to what we do in T20 matches. So we have to be better in terms of our shot selection, right? And being skittled out in one session is just unacceptable at this level, right? So I mean, there are a lot to be worked on by the West Indies, but I believe that they will be better in this second test. Now, when you look now on the Australian side, I believe that Steve Smith will be back in the 11, playing 11. He's back in the squad now, and so I suspect Josh Inglis will give way for Steve Smith, right? To be honest with you, I'm not sure if Cam Green as a number 3 batter. He averaged probably 5.5 there at number 3, even though he has not played a lot of innings there. Overall, he's averaging in tests about 33. I think he's a better batter than an average of 33. So I think because in my build-up in the first test, I suspect that they would have played him at number 4, but when the starting lineup came out, I see where he would have been batting at number 3, and I guess it makes a lot of sense because they don't want to keep him at number 4, given that that spot is for Steve Smith. But I believe that he's a better number 4 batter than a number 3 or number 6. So let us see, what will happen, and I think Sam Kansas is under the microscope to score runs, but I think that Australia is looking at Sam Kansas as a long-term player, so I think they will give him enough time to find his footing in this batting lineup. Now the only other change I think may happen is that probably Nathan Lyon give way for Scott Boland because of the track that they will be playing on. But I doubt that will happen, to be honest with you. But let us wait and see what will transpire. So looking now on the test match in Grenada, I mean the track, the Australians, none of the Australians have ever played on this track, right? So it will be a new track for them, so they will have to find their way in terms of adapting how the track will be playing. West Indies would have had a little success on this track. I think their first match they played on this track against New Zealand, that match would have been drawn, and I think they would have scored 470 runs on this track. And they would have played England in 2022, where they would have won that match by 10 wickets. Right, so I expect, I think, if I may be honest with you, I think that first test, we should have won that test match. That first test, as I would have said in the build-up to that test, we had a good chance of winning. Given that Steve Smith will be back for this match, it's gonna be a tougher task for us to win this match. However, I'm still backing the guys to put in a good performance. Right, we need to level this series, and so I expect our bowlers to continue in that being a form that we would have seen in the first test. As I would have said in my last video, this is the first time I would have seen the bowling lineup bowl so well, collectively. Right, they were superb, especially Shamar Joseph would have been really excellent in that first test, having grabbed 9 wickets in the match. Now I expect Jaden Seals and Shamar Joseph also to set the tone at the top for the other bowlers to follow. Now, there is, in this match, Craig Brathwaite will be playing his 100th test match for the West Indies, and he will become the 10th West Indian to do so. Chris Gayle would have done so in 2014, the last West Indian to play 100 test matches. And I wish Frank Worrell all the best in this test match, and I hope that we will get a big one for the West Indies. We need a big performance from one of our top order batter in this test match. So all the best, Craig Brathwaite. Not sure if this will be his last test match, but we'll just have to wait and see. Craig Brathwaite would have captained the West Indies team for 39 test matches. He is only behind Clive Lloyd, who would have captained for 74 matches, Sir Vivian Richard 50, and Brian Lara would have captained 47. So he is in a very elite group there. All in all, I expect another good performance from the West Indies. My prediction is that as a batting unit, we have to be scoring over at least 275 to 300 runs. You need to be scoring that in both innings in order to have a chance. West Indies over the years have difficulty batting second in test matches, and we have to. Darren Samuel will have to find a way for our batters to remain focused and to be able to score good second inning runs. Right, that's generally where we have been losing test matches. We have not been scoring runs. We have normally our second inning will normally have a massive collapse, and we have to find a way to change that narrative. Right, so West Indies will need to score over 275 to 300 runs in both innings, and we need to take 20 wickets. And the bowlers will have shown, right, in the first test that we are able to take 20 Australian wickets. So I expect West Indies to put up a really good performance in this test match again. So in terms of the pitch report, Grenada, as I would have mentioned earlier, is a pitch or a wicket or a track that favors fast bowling, pace bowling. So as I said, I would include Andy Phillips in this second test match and take out Jamel Warrican in order to maximize on the wicket. Or the nature of the wicket. Now, as I would have said, maybe that Darren Sammy do not make any change into this test match, because I believe that he thinks that this lineup is his strongest lineup, right? So we'll just have to wait and see what will be the playing 11 from West Indies standpoint. So in terms of Grenada, I think 4 matches would have been played there, and the team batting first would have won all test matches there. Now the highest total, as I would have said earlier, would have been scored by West Indies versus New Zealand in 2002, where West Indies have scored a mammoth 470. The average first inning score at this venue would be 322, right? And most runs scored here would have been scored by Chris Gayle, 204. Most wicket taken here would have been by Kemar Roach. He would have taken 11 wickets here. Pace bowlers would have taken 76 wickets, and pace average 30.84. and pace strike rate would have been 67.4. In terms of spin wicket, spinners would have taken 40 wickets at an average of 34.92 at a strike rate at 78.9. So in terms of Australia would have lost only one of their last 22 matches against the West Indies, they would have won 17 and would have drawn 4. We know that that match that West Indies would have won would be last year at the Gabba, where Shamar Joseph would have announced himself in the Test cricketing arena. In terms of overall head-to-head matches, West Indies would have won 33 matches against Australia, while Australia would have won 62 matches against the West Indies. In terms of most runs between the two teams, in terms of current players, Craig Brathwaite would have scored 567 runs at 23.62 against Australia, and Steve Smith would have scored 872 at 124.57. Shamar Joseph would have taken most wickets in terms of current players, with 22 wickets at 16.27, and Nathan Lyon for the Australian 57 wickets at 22.57. My prediction is I will always stick with the West Indies. As I said, I just want our bowling unit to continue, and our top order need to give us some runs in this test match. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to hit that subscribe button, turn on that post notification bell so that you can be notified whenever content will have been uploaded to the channel. Please remember to hit that like button, and I really value your comments, so please share your comments, your thoughts, your opinion down in the comment section, and I will respond accordingly. Thank you so much for watching again, and best of luck to the West Indies.